Well, another 6 months, or a year, or whatever. Another Jade festival. That's right, the thing I keep making videos about. But I entered, and despite having taken a bit of a sabbatical from Absolver, I came into it not having done too bad. So you know what? Let's have a tournament diary about it. Let me tell you how I did. Let's go ahead and first say thank you to Mo and the Absolver Academy, Mr. 2% for being Mr. Production, and the judges and commentators who made it a spectacle. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Jade Festival is a tournament created for Absolver Plus, a mod that makes Absolver a little more competitively oriented, or at the very least, a lot more hype to watch. It happens pretty much once a year at this point, but it's also essentially our Super Bowl. This is where the top brass come to beat ass. I'll say first that I was coming off of a break from Absolver because I had formed really bad habits. And by bad habits, I mean the kind of habits that are not conducive to modern Absolver. In modern Absolver, no one is scared by fainting 15 times. Good players aren't surprised when you try to take your turn back and begin fainting. In fact, good players understand that fainting is a tool with more application than simple offensive pressure. Fainting is a tool that gives you so many options. So I took time off to try and internalize that and apply it in this tournament. So I meant for this tournament to be much more mindful in my approach to it. I'm pretty sure I've said let's get into it a bunch, but let's go! For my first fight, I fought double range. I didn't know what to expect here, since I believe double range is relatively new. I knew he was probably shaking off some tournament nerves, but he ran a deck that was relatively meta. He did have a lot of dropped confirms though. There were some guard breaks that just didn't give him anything. Game 1 gave me an early lead with almost no health lost on the first stock, and I even managed to take another stock of double ranges before I lost one of my own. At the point that I lost my first life, I had done significant damage to his health. I ended up taking this set, but I think the crux of these fights were essentially down to stamina management. I simply had better stamina management. When I got too low, I would try to either eat hits or look for an avoid, manually stopping my pressure. I think due to the differentiation in stamina management, I scored a wealth of guard breaks in this set, which led to a lot of free punishes. And I think if anything, it's important to take away that paying attention to your stamina does matter. So I take this set 3-0. And sweet Jesus, I was going to need that ego boost, because up next was Joby. Joby literally determined their loadout and powers by committee in the Academy Discord. I'm a dead man! I know for a fact that Joby is much better than I am at this game, so I was absolutely expecting to get rocked. Even my newfound mental game didn't prepare me for the fact that Joby just knows you. They get in your head and fuck you up a little bit. They know what works, and the worst part is they seem to remember all of this on the fly. And I mean, you know what, maybe I'm just a little easy to read. That's okay. I tried to be cheeky. Terran Slam definitely did not help me at all. Wrong kind of cheeky. I definitely still wanted to rock it for the aura, okay? The undeniable aura of Terran Slam. But, yeah, Joby destroys me. I go 0-3 here. So now I drop into losers, and I'm like, okay, next opponent should be a little bit easier to fight than Joby. And that's just true. That's a very true statement because Joby's insane. So I got Agawine. So I ran into Agawine, you know? You should know one thing. Agawine is responsible for the most recent code changes to the Absolver deck editor. Shout out absolver.dev. I haven't done much playing them recently, but they did make a switch from Windfall to Phasian, hoping that the parry jab would protect them from some otherwise unforgiving punishes. So I used this in my set to some effect, where I was really just trying to play the game of bait the parry, where I'd avoid the parry jab. Agawine did a great job of sometimes just fainting here, and while I had a few speed bumps along the way, this set ultimately went my way. So I beat Agawine 3-0. Oh my gosh, so 3-0, 0-3, 3-0. I'm doing great here. And then we get to YabaBaji. This set fucked. This set was remarkable in like every possible way. I actually lost 2-4 to YabaBaji in the North American Island tournament put on by Mr. 2%. And it hurt because at the time it felt so doable and I felt like I was just playing so incorrectly. So I went into this set thinking, okay, I might lose, but that's all right. I have patience. I know that there are things I don't have to respond to in YabaBaji's deck, and if I play it cool, it'll be fine. And on YabaBaji's side, he's been grinding really hard, and it's not hard to tell that this is a person that really wants to internalize traits that make a good Absolver player. And while they're still trying to find their fight identity, I think that they have immense potential. I'll be real in that I was looking at this set like I was probably getting knocked out of the tournament here. YabaBaji beat me by 2 games last time we fought, so obviously. But then I realized that so much of what I was getting tripped up on was low back fist. This back right stance of theirs was vicious. It was punishing. But I took to heart some advice given to me by June. I don't have to interact with this. Something like low back fist, I could just block. I can block it for a long time. I think for the majority of my Absolver career, I've been panic avoiding when I have no other option. But there is another option, and that option is being patient. It's blocking. It's waiting. And then I realized I packed shield. I realized this before I lost the first game. And that's when the set got so much more interesting. I saw that YabaBaji would sit in this stance and poke me out of pressure or mix me with it. But thanks to Absolver Plus, and thanks to 12 frames being lights, shield was actual, real counterplay. I would pop shield and then start ignoring every time they wanted to avoid and poke me with low back fist. I was generating enough shards to pop it relatively consistently. As a result, it was counterplay that eventually helped me take games 2 and 3. Shield worked, but it was a nail biter. Down to the last stock on the last game. The set was incredible, and I'll have it posted to my YouTube for anybody curious, but holy shit, GG's to YabaBaji. I take this win narrowly with a 3-2. Having not thought I would have gotten this far, I run into Waka. Waka is a coin-flipping demon. He knows only disrespect in a way that says, if you don't check me, I will not stop.
No, I don't like this, okay? It's unnatural and I won't have it.
I'm gonna say right now, the first 2 games were not pretty. I don't do well when I'm overwhelmed by offensive pressure, and this is something I'm working on. This is also something that Waka excels at. Now, after eating my 15th bounce knee, I had sort of relegated myself to losing 3-0, but then I dug deeper and managed to breathe. I managed to be a bit more patient, and I took a win out from under Waka. At that point, I felt pretty accomplished, actually. Usually when you get shit canned this hard in tournament, it's hard to even grab a game from someone who's overwhelming you. Obviously, the last game did not go well. I ended up losing to Waka 1-3, but I think everyone watching this was still pretty proud of my showing. Hell, I was proud of my showing. And so, that's it. Your boy came in 5th. Not bad at all. Still plenty of room for improvement, but as always, Absolver tournaments are a load of fun to get into. Again, shout out to the Jade Fest organizers for not only an excellent format change to Mo's rule, but a smooth tournament experience from production to casting. I'm sure I'll come back at you with another tournament diary in the future, but until then, I'll be posting each of the fights on my YouTube in some form so you can see how sick and cool and dope Absolver is. But until next time, play Absolver, enter a tournament. Thanks for watching.